Protected by chains of towering mountains to the west and impassable waterfalls to the east, Manu National Park in Peru has escaped the destructive onslaught of settlers that has ravaged much of our world's tropical rainforests. Today, Manu is influenced by the same natural forces that have shaped its history for the past 10,000 years. In the dynamically balanced scheme of nature, each species has its own ecological niche, where it employs its own special strategies of survival, shaped by the environment around it. The cycle of life moves onward, from minerals to plants to animals and back to minerals. The chain of natural order remains unbroken. The spaceship Earth, our home. Viewed from the barren landscape of the moon, we gain an awesome perspective of a planet where life has evolved for hundreds of millions of years in a dynamic harmony with its environment. But in the most recent historical twinkling of an eye, the manipulative potential of a single species of animal, humans, has progressed so rapidly that its ability to change the environment has exceeded its ability to understand it. Never in the course of ecological time has any life form so altered the global environment. We are transforming the world to meet our present needs. These transformations, designed for short-term gain, frequently produce permanent and detrimental changes in our global ecosystem. Peru's Manu National Park is special. It continues to exist in a pristine state. In 1977, the United Nations designated the 4.5 million acres of Manu Park a global biosphere reserve. From daybreak on the Atlantic coast at the eastern edge of the Amazon forest, 4 hours elapse before the light of day reaches the forest's western edge, roughly 2,400 miles away at the base of the Andes. For perhaps millions of years, the forest existed unbroken across this immense region. The richness, variety, and enormity of this habitat has given rise to the greatest diversity of living organisms found anywhere on Earth. The western edge of the Amazon basin is fed by sediment-laden waters from the Andean cloud forests. These cloud forests along the high-altitude western border of the Manu Park are home to the spectacular Cock of the Rock. Dozens of nutrient-rich whitewater streams eventually join together to form the Manu River. The Manu meanders through the floodplain it has created, winding back and forth, cutting steep banks and building wide beaches. The Manu Park and its adjacent reserve zone encompass the entire Manu River drainage. Manu Park is an ocean of trees. The only open space in the dense tree canopy is at the edge of the river itself. In the dry season, when the river is low, wide sand beaches appear. During these dry months, the beaches are the temporary home of birds thought to be more typical of seacoasts than rainforests. Every major beach has one pair of large-billed terns. They nest as far from the forest as possible so that any ground predator would be instantly conspicuous long before it reaches the tern's eggs or its young. The adult terns are aggressively defensive and will dive at any predator. Taking advantage of this protection, several pairs of black skimmers nest nearby. Related to the terns, they feed by skimming over the river's surface, snapping their bills shut whenever it strikes a small fish. Many beaches are also home to a single pair of pied lapwings. They feed on small arthropods taken from the muddy river edge. A smaller shorebird, the collared plover, nests here as well. Like the lapwings and the large-billed terns, only one pair of plovers nest to a beach. The sand-colored nighthawk has evolved feathers which blend with its nesting area in order to survive in what seems to be an inhospitable habitat where shade is a welcome relief. In the morning, the sand has yet to be heated by the sun, but as the day progresses, the temperatures on the beach are 20 degrees hotter than in the forest, and the birds pant in order to cool themselves. The adults are always vigilant against the approach of predators, but the young must remain nearly motionless to avoid detection by hawks and eagles. If the young are spotted by a predator, the parent attempts to lure the predator away by feigning a broken wing. The sand-colored nighthawks nest in colonies, and there is always a young bird to protect. Groups of roseate spoonbills also are found along the riverbank. Largest and most unusual of the river edge birds is the horned screamer. Little is known about their biology, other than that they are one of the few birds that subsist upon a diet composed mostly of floating vegetation. The slow waters of the Manu River in the dry season give way to the often raging currents of the rainy season. During the season, the water rises by 40 feet, and its tremendous power erodes the forest banks, toppling gigantic trees. Sometimes, the force of the floodwaters creates a new channel through the forest, cutting off a previous bend in the river to form an oxbow lake. Such a lake, or kocha as it is known locally, may survive for hundreds of years, its waters replenished during the annual rainy season. Caimans and otters are the most dramatic predators in the kocha food chain. The white caiman lives in both the rivers and lakes of the Manu Park. Its larger relative, the black caiman, lives almost exclusively in the lakes. Black caimans may grow to the enormous length of 20 feet. Adults of 15 feet are common within the park. Once the most abundant of the Amazon's large predators, the black caiman has been driven to near extinction. Fortunately, these caimans are still abundant in Manu. While adult caimans have only a few serious predators, small caimans make easy pickings for the lake's piranhas and herons. Even caimans up to 5 feet in length may fall prey to the kocha's other large predator, the giant otter. At 6 feet long and weighing up to 70 pounds, giant otters are the largest otters on Earth. They drive their bullet-shaped heads and streamlined torsos through the water by vertically pumping their long, flat tails. Giant otters came close to total extinction at the end of the 1960s as a result of intensive hunting for the international fur trade. During that decade alone, more than 20,000 otter skins were exported from Peru and Brazil. Today, only small populations of giant otters survive in remote places like Manu. Scientists estimate that as few as 1,000 to 3,000 giant otters exist in the world. Manu, with a mere 100, may have the world's largest and best protected population. Many animals live in groups to protect themselves, and giant otters are no exception. In the coaches of Manu, otters are always vigilant for huge black caimans, their most fearsome predator. Most of the otter's diet consists of fish: piranhas, corvinas, sungaros, dorados, boca chicas, and pacus. A 40-pound fish can be reduced to just a few bones in less than an hour. Young otter cubs often beg for fish from their mother. When the mother is ready, she allows the cub to grab the fish from her while underwater. She is teaching the cub to catch its own prey. In the forest, troops of monkeys move through the trees in search of food. Red howler monkeys feed entirely on leaves. They keep fixed territories that they proclaim with loud roars. Most monkeys feed primarily on widely dispersed fruits, so that they must move through the forest to find fruiting trees. In the rainy season, when many trees are fruiting, life is relatively easy, even for the black spider monkey, the forest's largest monkey, which weighs up to 22 pounds. In the dry season, fruit is scarce and monkeys are forced to seek out less nourishing alternatives, like nectar from Matisia flowers. Spider monkeys travel in small groups, hanging fearlessly by their tails more than 100 feet above the ground. When the spider monkeys are finished eating, troops of smaller brown capuchins approach. Next come the even smaller squirrel monkeys. The brown capuchins are able to use their powerful jaws to open palm nuts. Unable to match this feat of strength, squirrel monkeys search for insects. By supplementing their diet with large insects and other small animals, small monkeys avoid intense competition for fruit and nectar. The saddleback tamarin, which weighs about 1 pound, lives in small groups and spends much of its day hiding in vine tangles. It stalks swift grasshoppers and reaches into holes inaccessible to larger monkeys. The smallest of Manu's primates is the pygmy marmoset, which at 4 ounces is the world's smallest monkey. Its diet is composed largely of sap from a few species of trees and is supplemented with insects. Most medium-sized and large monkeys live in groups, sometimes including up to 70 individuals. While many in the group concentrate on opening fruit or jumping between trees, others are always watching for danger. The most formidable enemy of these monkeys is the large harpy eagle. It is more than 3 feet from head to tail and equipped with powerful talons and a sharp bill. It waits beneath the canopy for unsuspecting monkeys, sloths, and large game birds. 90% of the forest nutrients are held within living vegetation. When a leaf or even an entire tree falls to the ground, it is quickly set upon by a myriad of organisms that begin to break it down. Every decomposing log seems to host a distinctive community of plants, fungi, arthropods, and other invertebrates, all adapted to exploit the windfall of nutrients. Both plants and animals have developed a bewildering array of defenses to protect themselves against predators. Thorns and shells are the most obvious defenses, but perhaps more biologically sophisticated are the chemical defenses used by plants and animals alike. Caterpillars have evolved powerful stinging hairs. Some frogs have poison-secreting skin that serves to deter would-be predators. 28 parrot species are found in Manu, including one newly discovered species first sighted in 1985. These birds range in size from the 5-inch parakeets to the 3-foot macaws. Many large parrots, especially the macaws, are being driven to extinction throughout the Amazon by hunters and pet traders. Fortunately, macaws in Manu still live undisturbed and are still abundant. Blue and yellow macaws live primarily in floodplain forests, where they nest in dead palms along the edge of rivers and lakes. The young birds remain in the nest until they are 3 months old. To feed them, parents regurgitate seeds and fruit that they have gathered in the forest. When the young are old enough, they begin to exercise their wings. One day, they make their maiden flight. In the months that follow, young macaws will stay with their parents. Forming colorful trios in the forest, they do everything together. Unlike the blue and yellow macaw, the scarlet macaw nests in hardwood tree holes. Its diet is the most varied of the large parrots and includes seeds, fruit, pulp, leaves, flowers, and nectar from at least 40 species of trees and vines. Large parrots tend to be highly destructive when feeding on flowers and fruit. Chestnut-fronted macaws pull off coral bean blossoms to extract the nectar from the flower. As the trees have evolved hard shells to protect their seeds, parrots have evolved specialized bills to crack them. Scarlet macaws can also deftly use their muscular tongues to peel the bitter covering from a tasty seed. Trees add bitter chemicals to their seeds to make them unpalatable and indigestible. To counter these toxins, parrots gather at exposed banks along the river to eat the clays found in the soil. Clay probably helps to neutralize the toxic compounds in the seeds and green fruits eaten by many parrot species. The smaller parrots arrive first. Then the macaws cautiously approach the clay bank. While they squabble for a good perch or have their head deep in a crack, they may not be aware of approaching predators. At any given moment, a few birds are on the alert for hawks and eagles. When an eagle dives, all of the macaws explode from the lip and land in nearby trees. Speckled chachalakas usually perch and feed in the mid-levels of the forest canopy. When they do come to the clay, it is only briefly, because on the clay they are vulnerable to terrestrial predators such as the ocelot. Ocelots are generalists, eating birds, mammals, and even reptiles in roughly the same proportions in which they encounter them. A hunting foray may last up to 12 hours beginning in the early evening and continuing until dawn, hunting in the area they mark as their territory. Peccaries also visit clay licks every few days, sometimes pausing for a nap. But they cannot rest long, for a jaguar may be lurking nearby. From the smallest insects to the largest caimans, life in the Amazon rainforest is a continual competition. In the undisturbed jungle, all life is connected by an invisible web. Birds disperse seeds needed to continue the process of forest regeneration. Caimans and giant otters eat fish and thus recycle nutrients necessary for the growth of plankton that form the base of the aquatic food chain. When some of the links in this chain are lost, the equilibrium is broken and the health of the forest is in jeopardy. The miracle of Manu is that it remains intact and in perfect natural balance. Here, a visitor 100, 1,000, or 10,000 years ago would have seen the same species living in the same manner as today. But in a greater sense, our wise stewardship of Manu is a model for our general desire to live in cooperation with nature. Lessons learned from Manu may help us restore our threatened planet to its original state of dynamic harmony.